So as you know that the assignment 2, basically it starts on 20th of September, and the deadline of this assignment to be over is 27th. So what you need to do in this assignment is that based on the assignment 1, you would have analyzed your company or the aviation or the airline industry. You need to make use of, you need to analyze, you need to explore the annual reports, not very past, but maybe the last 3 to 4 years, annual reports of both KLM and Finnair. And this task is not very different from what you have done in the management accounting lesson course. You remember that in that course, you used to explore a company's annual reports about 4 to 5 years old. So it's nothing new, basically. Even though you might come across some broker's report or some analyst forecast, for example, in Morningstar or in Yahoo Finance. So these type of information you need to get. And based on that, you need to find out that what type of structure of the company is, who are the major shareholders of the company, what type of businesses they're operating, in which of the regions they're covering. I can tell you that if you go to KLM and Finnair's annual report, maybe the latest one, this is 22, so I think this should be 21 annual report already. You can find out that what has been their recent strategy of both companies. You can also go through the CEO and the chairperson's speech, which is in the beginning. You can also read their strategy report, what type of strategy they are forming, and you can also find out their key performance indicators about the return on capital employed, return on assets, earnings per share, price to earning ratio. Not all the information would be available in the annual report. Then you need to use Yahoo Finance and some other sources, for example, to get the price to earning ratio or the price to earning growth or the earnings per share. So these type of things you need to explore by yourself. And if you want, you can also go through that if the KLM, not only KLM and Finnair, if some other major players, what has been their performance in the recent history. So you can also find out the key performance indicators, for example, of Lufthansa or Ryanair or the Air Baltic or these. I mean, some of the companies, Air France, where Air France and KLM are nearly same thing now. So you can go through these type of information. And once again, there is no big deal. You can easily get this information from, for example, if you are, let me show you, if you go to investing.com. And let me share the screen. And let's say investing.com. And here, if you want to say Finnair, you can find some of the key performance indicators already here. You can get from Yahoo Finance, and you can also get from investing.com. Here you can get the financial summary of the company. Okay, the total revenue, the profit, the net income. And like you can get in the management accounting lesson, some financial ratios, you can also get some financial ratios as well. For instance, you can find out the price to earnings ratio, price to sales ratio, price to cash flow. So you can see that the cash flow situation has been very bad for Finnair, and the price to book ratio. So these kind of things you can do for Finnair, and at the same time you can do from the KLM. Air France KLM. So if we in terms of their in terms of KLM's financial ratios, it's a massive company, and you can also check their financial health. But the question is, where are the ratios? Maybe here, financial. Oh yeah, financials. And then in the financials, you can see the ratios and you can compare. So this exercise, this week 2 task, is a kind of your first beginning. The introductory part of your analysis of the company's data. You can get the data by yourself from the annual reports, but at the same time, if you use some trustworthy resource like investing.com or KLM, you can also get this information. And you can see here that the ratios, when I compare both KLM and Finnair, both are not very good, but out of the poor performance of both companies, I think Finnair is still performing a bit better than KLM. Similarly, if you want to get some information about the income statement, you want to check how much has been their profit and loss in the last 2 years. You can get here the earnings per share. You can see. Similarly, if you want to do the same thing for the other company, you can do the Finnair and the balance sheet. You want to see the assets, liabilities, how much debt they have. So you can see the long-term debt of KLM has been quite stable. It's not too much. In fact, it's pretty stable. And if you want to see the equity, the share capital, you can also see that. So these basic statistics of both companies, you can get. In a similar way, you can find the cash flow of the company, and you can see where the cash from company's operations is coming. So you can see here that the cash from operating activities is this much. So overall, the company's cash balance has improved over time, and they have got some new financing. Well, they have invested a lot of money in the past, but maybe towards the end of the last 3 months, they're not investing so much. So anyway, basically, you can get the data about 3 important financial statements, which is the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow from some trustworthy web source as well. Even though I strongly recommend you that you should also explore the company's original annual report for the last 3-4 years to get a better feeling of the performance of each of these 2 companies. And then, as you know that till this time, we don't need to worry about the valuation of the company yet. So we don't really care about. So we don't care about the valuation until it's 27th of September. So, but I recommend you to watch those 2 videos and get the feel of valuation. You can, when you analyze both companies' financial data in Yahoo Finance or investing.com, or even from the company's original annual reports, their financial statements, you might see some of the good things, the bad things, the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So you can do some sort of SWOT analysis of each of the 2 companies, that is KLM and Finnair. There's no need to go too much into Porter's competitive strategy and so on and so forth. But I think that they're just like suggestions to you. But I think even if you are able to, even if by 27th of September, you are able to, by analyzing their basic financial information, if you are able to find out, if you are able to create their strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, that'll be a big achievement. And I would say that don't make this SWOT based on 1 year. Do it for at least 3 to 5 years. So that is why I'm saying that the annual reports will give you a lot of information, because the beauty of the annual report is that if you look at the 21 report, then 21 and 20 will be in the same report. And then you look at 19 annual report, not 20, but 19, then the 19 and 18 would be in the same report. And then you see the 17 alone. So basically, when you see with 3 years, 21, 2019, and 2017, you can basically get all the data. So you don't have to open the report for each year. That is a good thing. What else is required? These are references, so no big deal. And I think this is the time, week 3 is the time whose deadline is 4th of October. This is where you need to apply some basic, valuation methods, and also do some kind of negotiation. So based on the valuation, you already start thinking about whether you want to merge yourself with KLM, or you want to bid for KLM, or you are not in any favor of consolidation altogether. So all these, when you in the week 3, when you apply a couple of valuation techniques, which all of them I will discuss in the classroom with you. Most of them are in the YouTube videos, which I shared with you, but I would still give you a quick recap in classroom. So by applying all of them or some of them, not all of them, even some of them, you would be in a position to make some kind of analysis or reach out some conclusion that whether you want to bid for KLM, or you want to merge with it, or you are totally against any kind of consolidation. So these are different things. And then we have the week 4, which basically start from which start from 4th of October till 11th of October. And this is a time when you would still revise the valuation process. And if you make a decision that you, Finnair, wants to buy KLM, where would the money come from? Or if you are offered by KLM to sell Finnair to KLM, then you can ask your colleagues in Utrecht, where would they get money from to buy this company? Because buying a company is not a child's play. Basically, it's a very expensive deal. So where all these finances would come from? Will the money come from issuing more equity, or will the money come from more debt? Both equity and debt have their own problems, their own benefits, their own disadvantages. So you need to put forward to them that with how they would arrange so much money to buy the company. Will they buy the company in the one go, or will they buy the company in parts? Will they pay? Imagine that the KLM is bidding for Finnair. Will KLM pay cash to the shareholders of Finnair, or will they replace shares with shares? So how this different form of financing would come about. And then the letter of intent. So whether you decide to purchase KLM or KLM decides to purchase Finnair, you need to write a letter. So you act like a board of directors of Finnair, and you write to them, or they write to you that, hey, we are deciding, or we are having a proposal that we should buy your company, and this is the fair value of your company, this is the market value of your company, and this is how we want to purchase it. So these type of things you need to discuss. And then the stakeholder analysis. When this merger takes place, how the other stakeholders would be affected. And the other stakeholders includes employees. Will there be any retrenchment? Will you sack some people? Will there be any impact on the different type of investors, the banks in Finland, the banks in Netherlands? Will there be any impact on the government? Of course, if Finnair no longer remains a Finnish company but become a subsidiary of KLM, then it's possible that the tax revenue of the Finnish government would considerably decline because now Finnair is not a full-fledged entity. So all these kind of issues problems to the other stakeholders, which includes employees, suppliers, customers, even customers. Finnair is very popular in Asia among its travelers. Will the new company combined, KLM plus Finnair, be in a position to provide the same service to the customers in Asia? So all these type of discussion, which is less of calculation, but more of the storytelling, the more of idea sharing. And then finally, when you have combined all the calculation part, all the storytelling part, all the arguments, counter arguments, when you all have prepared these things, then you will be making a final slide presentation. Of course, don't go to the numbers. I don't expect that you'll be making 40 slides, but whatever number of slides you make a presentation which involve all your different phases from week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on and so forth. And now you are finally in a position whether to go for consolidation or not to go for consolidation, and if go for consolidation, go for a merger or takeover. So all these things, they will be decided in the final meeting. But of course, when I meet you in the 2 weeks time, we can discuss more about it. But these are basically the outline of the project, which is not at all complicated. And I'm sure that you guys will be in a perfect position to take care of it. And if there's any questions, queries, of course, I'm there to help you. And good luck and all the very best.